AS Level Biology 9700, Paper 2, Variant 2, May June 2025. Fourth video on question number 4. So, question number 4 starts as tuberculosis TB is an infectious disease that is caused by a bacterium pathogen. So, the pathogen has mechanism to avoid digestion by phagocytes. Macrophages may engulf the bacteria, but in some cases, the bacteria remain alive within the cells instead of being killed. So, although there are two main species of bacteria causing tuberculosis, it is rare for the species that cause bovina TB in cattle to infect humans. So, name the species of bacterium that is the main cause of TB in humans. So the main cause of TB in humans, the bacterial pathogen. So the name of for the species of that bacterium pathogen is Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So that is Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So simply they have asked the name of that pathogen. Explain how the pathogen named is transmitted from a person with the disease to a person who is uninfected. So the transmission of the pathogen, Mycobacterium tuberculosis, is primarily transmitted through the air via aerosols. Aerosols are the tiny airborne droplets. So these airborne droplets, airborne droplets, which are produced by an infected person. Infected person transfer these by cough, sneezing, speaking, so etc. So in this way, when a person with active TB disease expels these tiny droplets into the air by these different methods which I have told you, so that they can remain suspended for several hours into the air. So an uninfected person then becomes infected when they inhale these droplets. Once inhaled, the bacterial travel down the respiratory tract and usually settle in the lungs where they begin to multiply. As for example, these by airborne drops, tiny droplets remain suspended into the air. Suspended into the air, and then they are inhaled by the uninfected persons. So these uninfected persons fell ill and they have these bacteria inside their body. So I would like to write in a very short way as the only infected persons produces airborne droplets containing the bacteria. Pathogen or bacteria, you can see, Mycobacterium. So uninfected persons inhale these airborne droplets. which cause infection, tuberculosis to the uninfected persons. Next question is state the type of therapeutic drug used to treat the tuberculosis. You know, the tuberculosis is caused by the bacteria, so the treatment of the bacteria can only take place by the antibiotics. So the different uh, types of antibiotics which can cure this disease. So we will write only antibiotic because the antibiotics only cure the infections caused by the bacteria. Infections caused by bacteria are cured only by these antibiotics. So the Mycobacterium tuberculosis is that type of disease. So next question is figure 4.1 is a photomicrograph of a section of lung tissue taken from a person who has not been infected with the bacterial pathogen and who does not have TB. Who does not have TB. So this is the person who has not been infected. So this is the photograph from the healthy person. And you can see the healthy person have the all proper. So we have to draw which parts. Let me see. That is, we have to mention we have to draw the bronchus, bronchiole, and a blood vessel. Bronchus, bronchiole, and a blood vessel. So first of all, you can see over here the, the bronchus, trachea, C-shaped trachea, into trachea, bronchus, and bronchiole, and bronchiole and alveoli again. So here on this diagram, you can see a clear-cut bronchus and bronchus. How can we say this is the bronchus? So this is the largest, most complex circular structure, and you can see we can identify it by its thick, rigid-looking wall and a large open lumen. So this is its lumen, due to its lumen, and you can see cartilage is also there. So due to this large lumen and cartilage, we can see that you can also see one more thing here, that is smooth muscles. So with the help of these, we can identify first of all its diameter, the large lumen, and the second, you can see just like the bronchus, further branched into the bronchiole. So this is the bronchiole. Bronchiole. And then very close to bronchiole, you can see a circular structure with a very thin wall. With a very thin wall, you can see a structure uh, or relatively thick muscular wall with irregular or collapsed lumen into the alveolar. So here, this is the blood vessel. This is thin walled, irregularly shaped circular but very close to the bronchus or other areas. So very close to the bronchus. So this is the blood vessel. So these are the three labelings which they have asked to draw on this picture. Now after this, we are moving towards the other question. In some people with TB, areas known as granulomas may form in lung tissues as part of an immune response to the pathogen, as an immune response. So here you can see the different areas they have told us into the photomicrograph, darkly staining white blood cells in outer area of granuloma. So these are the darkly staining white blood cells. So they are dark in color. That is they have white blood cells. You know, the white blood cells protect us against the different infections. So multi-nucleated giant cells formed by the fusion of many macrophages. So large molecules, they will merge together, they will fuse together to make the giant cells. So dead cells and infected cells, mainly macrophages. So all they will be collectively known as the granuloma. So it means in granuloma, the multinucleated giant cells are there. They are fused together due to the fusion of the macrophages, and then other are the dead cells and infected cells, so they will be collectively known as, or they are also the macrophages, so they collectively make the granuloma. So with reference to picture 4.1 and 4.2, so 4.1 and 4.2, let me show you again. This is the picture 4.1 in which the healthy bronchus, bronchiole and blood vessels are there. But here in the 4.2, you can see the person is infected with tuberculosis and the granuloma formation is there on the picture. So it means we have to compare both of these. So by comparing or by keeping in mind both of these pictures in, we can have the question that can affect gas. Describe and explain how the changes that occur as a result of granuloma formation can affect gas exchange and harm the health of an infected person, may help to prevent tuberculosis developing in other parts of the body. So we have to go with these questions. So before writing, I just want to uh, explain the answer. So the formation of this granuloma significantly affects gas exchange in the lungs and harms the infected person's health. How it affects the health of the infected person. So the granuloma, as I have told you in the photomicrograph, that is the granuloma is a densely packed mass of immune cells, macrophages and lymphocytes, giant cells, and dead infected cells. So this structure replaces the normal thin-walled, air-filled structures of the lungs, primarily the alveoli. So due to this, what happens? The formation of a thick, non-gaseous tissue mass severely increases the diffusion distance for oxygen and carbon dioxide. You know, the diffusion distance is large. So what will happen? The rate of diffusion will decrease. So because diffusion is very slow process, so the molecule has to go to far off places. So due to go to a long distance, to large distance, the rate of diffusion will be decreased. So gases can no longer efficiently diffuse between the air and the blood across the healthy thin alveolar and capillary walls. So the granuloma essentially eliminates the massive surface area for gas exchange normally provided by the thousands of alveoli in this region. So this reduction is efficient. Gas exchange leads to reduced oxygen uptake to the blood and reduced carbon dioxide removal, causing symptoms like shortness of breath, fatigue, and tissue damage due to this granuloma formation. But this granuloma, the second part is the how granuloma formation prevents TB spread. So the primary function of granuloma is to contain the bacterial pathogen Mycobacterium tuberculosis, thereby preventing the disease from spreading throughout the body. The granuloma acts as a biological barrier. It forms a tightly organized structure with an outer ring of darkly staining white blood cells you have seen in the picture. So this effectively walls off the infected area from the surrounding healthy tissues. So infected cells and the bacteria are physically trapped within the center of the granuloma, which often becomes necrotic. The multinucleated giant cells formed by the fusion of many macrophages are specialized to ingest and attempt to destroy the large numbers of bacteria. So in this way, by successfully containing the bacteria, the granuloma prevents the live um, Mycobacterium tuberculosis from entering the bloodstream or lymphatic system. This results in a latent TB infection where the person is infected but not ill and is not infectious to other as long as the immune system maintains the integrity of the granuloma, so disease remains localized. So now I would like to write all this shortly, which I have told you, which I have explained you. So I have given explanation. First of all, we will go with the first part, that is the can affect gaseous exchange and harm the health of an infected person. So yes, the formation of granuloma significantly affects the formation of granuloma of granuloma significantly affects affects gas exchange in the lungs and harms the infected person, the health of the person, because granuloma is densely packed. Granuloma is densely packed mass immune cells and dead infected cells. And immune cells means it also contains the macrophages and lymphocytes. So it replaces the normal involved air-filled air-filled structures of lungs, which severely severely increases severely increases diffusion diffusion distance for oxygen and carbon dioxide, due to which gases cannot can no longer diffuse efficiently. So this reduction in gas exchange leads to symptoms like shortness of breath, fatigue, and tissue damage. Now, the second part may help how granuloma acts as a biological barrier. The granuloma forms a tightly organized structure with an outer ring of and outer ring of darkly staining darkly staining white blood cells. So I will start. Space is less because right on the laptop, this is the reason this space is decreased by writing because large handwriting. So what happens? So this infected cells and the bacteria are physically trapped. Infected cells and bacteria are physically trapped. Physically trapped within the center of granule. So this results in a latent, uh, the granuloma prevents the bacteria entering the bloodstream. So as long as the immune system helps the disease, disease remains to that place only. Means do not spread. So it was all about the question number 4. Please like, share, and subscribe my channel to watch more videos on the other papers which are in the pipeline. We will discuss. Thank you for watching my videos.